Today we're digging into something I think a lot of us wrestle with. How do you actually speak English with confidence, maybe even enjoy it? Especially if, you're busy, maybe a bit shy, or you just don't live in an English-speaking country? We've pulled together some really interesting sources for you, and what really jumps out isn't just like a list of tricks, but a whole way of thinking about weaving English into your life, making it more natural, less like homework.
Exactly. That's our mission today, really, to kind of cut through the noise and pull out the core ideas, the actual things you can do. We want to show you that getting fluent isn't necessarily about, packing your bags and moving or spending hours buried in books. It's about realizing that anyone, really anyone, can fit English practice into their real life wherever they happen to be.
The message we kept seeing was pretty clear. You don't need perfection. You just need to start. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. This common idea, right? That you need to move to the UK or the US or study like crazy to speak well. A lot of people feel that pressure. But these sources, they seem to push back on that quite hard. What's the main shift in thinking they're proposing?
Yeah, it's a really interesting shift. It's moving away from these huge, maybe overwhelming goals, like I must be fluent by next year, and instead focusing on what they call small, smart steps. Tiny things, really. Easy actions you can repeat, things that actually slot into your normal day. And the point isn't just cramming vocabulary. It's about building comfort, making English feel, less foreign, and bit by bit, building real confidence. It's all about consistency over intensity.
Yeah, I could see that. Makes a lot of sense, especially if you're juggling a lot. So if we're talking practical techniques, things that really move the needle for both speaking and listening, what did the sources highlight as like a really powerful one?
Oh, definitely shadowing. That came up again and again. It's framed as one of the best ways to improve both skills at the same time, almost like a secret weapon.
Shadowing. Okay, sounds interesting. So what is it exactly? According to the research,
it's actually pretty simple in concept. You listen to someone speaking English. It could be anything, a podcast, a video, and then you immediately repeat exactly what they say right after them. The trick is not to stop. Don't pause to translate in your head. Don't look up words you don't know. You're just copying the sound like an echo, trying to match their speed, their rhythm, even the ups and downs of their voice, the tone.
Okay, interesting. So purely mimicking the sound flow. Can we try that like the sources suggest?
Yeah, let's do it. So I'll say a sentence and you, listening, just repeat it right after me. Ready? I want to speak English fluently.
Okay. Your turn now, listener.
All right, let's try another one. I listen to English every day.
Go ahead.
And maybe one more just to get the feel. Shadowing helps me speak better.
Repeat that one too.
So that's the basic action, and the why behind it is really key. It's not about full comprehension, not at first anyway, that comes later. It's more about training your brain and your mouth to coordinate in English. It literally helps you get used to the sounds, the flow, how English feels to say. It's almost like building muscle memory for speaking English.
Okay. Connecting the physical act of speaking with the sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're training those articulatory muscles and the brain pathways together. That's why it's so effective. And it really is a small habit, but with potentially big results. Even just 5 minutes of this a day consistently can help you speak faster, clearer, and just more naturally over time. It's a real game changer for improving how you sound.
That makes total sense, building that physical capability. And it leads us right into the first big piece of advice, the foundation really, that the sources stress. Listen to English every day. They actually call it the most important step if you want to speak better. Why is listening considered so absolutely crucial?
Well, the research points out it works on multiple levels. First, obviously, it helps you pick up new words and phrases just through exposure, but it also tunes your ear to the real rhythm, the music of English, not just how words are pronounced in isolation in a textbook. It trains your brain to process spoken English faster. And importantly, it gets you used to how real people talk, with pauses and ums and ahs and different accents.
Right. The messy reality of spoken language, not just the clean version.
Exactly. It's the raw input you need to fuel everything else.
So for someone thinking, okay, but how? I'm busy, I'm not in an English environment. How can they realistically fit this daily listening in?
That's the great part. It's incredibly flexible. The sources give loads of practical ideas. You can listen to podcasts, obviously, like this one, or English music. Watch YouTube videos on topics you like. You could find short stories or news reports specifically for English learners if you prefer something simpler. And here's a key takeaway. You don't need 100% understanding. Honestly, even if you only catch 30% or 50%, your brain is still soaking up patterns, sounds, sentence structures. It's still working.
We'll lower the pressure, basically.
Absolutely. Think about passive listening. Put it on while you're walking, cleaning the house, cooking dinner, exercising, even just chilling out for a bit. Just 10 or 15 minutes a day can make a real difference. The idea is to sort of make English your background soundtrack. Immerse yourself gently without the stress of feeling you have to study every second.
Make English your background soundtrack. I like that. Okay, so our ears are getting tuned in with daily listening. How do we then bridge that gap? Connect that listening to actually speaking more effectively.
And that's where shadowing loops back in perfectly. Listening is foundational, it's vital, but speaking actively, that's how you really build strength. So you're not just letting the sounds wash over you anymore, you're engaging with them.
Right. So just to quickly recap shadowing again. You listen maybe to a sentence or a short phrase, then immediately repeat it. Copy the voice, match the rhythm. Let's try one more quick one the sources use just to reinforce it. I am improving little by little. Your turn to repeat.
Exactly. And the power comes from doing this consistently, daily, if possible. Even if you find yourself repeating the same sentences from the same short audio clip over and over again for a few days, that's actually good. It makes your speaking smoother over time. Your pronunciation gets clearer because you're mimicking a good model. And crucially, it builds confidence in your ability to produce the sounds. The sources really emphasize this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be practiced. That regular low-stakes practice is genuinely what adds up.
Okay, consistent practice, not perfection. Got it. Now, that brings us to the third strategy, and this one sounds potentially quite deep. The sources call it one of the biggest changes you can make. Think in English. That feels like it goes beyond just practice techniques. What's so transformative about shifting your internal monologue?
It really is a fundamental shift. The big advantage of thinking directly in English, as the research explains it, is that you start bypassing that slow, often awkward translation step from your native language. Instead of thinking in language A, translating to English, then speaking, you start creating direct pathways, thought straight into English. It's like building the internal software for the language, not just relying on a translation app in your head.
So how does someone actually start doing that? It sounds a bit abstract.
It's less daunting than it sounds. The advice is to start really small. Simple sentences in your mind as you go about your day. Like when you wake up, instead of your usual thought, try thinking, "It's morning," or "I'm still sleepy, I need coffee." Simple, everyday stuff. Or when you're outside, the sky is blue, the air is cold, I see a dog. Just noticing things and framing them in simple English in your head. During the workday, I'm working, I'm tired, I want to go home.
Just tiny observations.
Exactly. These are just small thoughts, but they do the job. They train your brain to operate in English without that translation lag. And the sources suggest that later, as you get comfortable, you could even try saying these little thoughts out loud, maybe just whispering them to yourself. It becomes like a sort of private, ongoing conversation in English.
A quiet internal practice. I like that. Okay. And closely related, perhaps, is the fourth tip: read aloud. How is reading aloud different or maybe better for speaking than just reading silently to yourself?
Good question. Silent reading is great for comprehension and vocabulary, obviously, but reading aloud does something unique. It actively trains your speaking muscles. It forces your mouth, your tongue, your jaw, and your brain to work together to produce English sounds accurately and smoothly. It's a physical workout in a way that silent reading just doesn't provide.
Ah, the physical connection again.
Precisely. It builds that dexterity you need for fluent speech. And the advice for doing it is very practical. Start with short, simple texts. Maybe children's books, they often have simpler language and clear sentence structures, or easy English stories for learners, even dialogues from videos or podcasts you've listened to.
Things that aren't too overwhelming.
Right. First, just read it slowly and clearly. Focus on pronouncing the words correctly. Then maybe read the same passage again, but a bit faster this time. And finally, try reading it with more expression. Imagine you're an actor, Put some feeling into it. This multi-step process helps with pronunciation, rhythm, fluency, and confidence all at once. The analogy used was great. It's like going to the gym, but for your speaking muscles. Really strengthens your ability to speak clearly.
I love that analogy. Okay, so we've got listening, shadowing, thinking in English, reading aloud. Incredibly practical stuff. But now we get to what the sources seem to suggest is maybe the most powerful shift in mindset. Use English in your daily life. This idea of living with English, not just studying it. What does that actually mean in practice?
Yeah, this is a big one. Living with English basically means breaking English out of the study time box. It shouldn't be something you only do for an hour in the evening or only in a classroom. It should become, just part of the furniture of your everyday life, like making coffee or checking social media. The core idea is simple. The more you see English, hear English, and use English in completely normal, everyday situations, the more natural it will feel. It stops being this separate subject and just becomes a tool you use, a part of your routine.
Okay, that makes sense. Integrating it so it's just there.
Yeah.
Part of the background fabric of your day. So how do people actually do that, especially if they're super busy or think, I don't have opportunities to use English? What specific, easy methods did the sources offer?
This is where it gets really practical and honestly quite clever. The first tip is incredibly simple. Change your phone settings to English.
Oh, interesting. Why?
Think about it. How many times do you look at your phone every day? Dozens, hundreds, maybe.
Too many.
Exactly. So suddenly, without any extra effort, you're constantly seeing words like settings, airplane mode, brightness, update available, delete, download. These words just become familiar through sheer repetition. It's passive learning happening all the time. It just normalizes English on a device you use constantly.
That's really smart. Low effort, high exposure.
Precisely. And then moving towards more active production, but still keeping it low pressure, the sources strongly recommend writing a short diary in English every day. We're not talking essays here. Just 3 short sentences about your day. That's it.
3 sentences. That sounds manageable.
Totally. Like, today I went to work. I was very tired. I drank 2 cups of coffee. Simple as that. Or maybe, it rained this morning. I stayed home. I watched an English video. What this does is it gets you practicing basic sentence structure using vocabulary that's actually relevant to your life right now. And even if you only spend 5 minutes doing this before bed, maybe in a notebook or a notes app on your phone, or even texting a language buddy, it makes a huge difference over time.
Okay, those are two great, very doable starting points. Phone settings and a mini diary. What about practicing actual speaking, but still in a way that feels safe and private?
For that, a brilliant suggestion was to record a 1-minute voice message every day. Just at the end of the day, grab your phone, open the voice recorder app, and talk for literally 1 minute about your day, your plans for tomorrow, how you're feeling, something interesting you learned, anything.
Just talking to yourself, essentially.
Pretty much. For example, today was busy. I had a meeting in the morning, then I made lunch for my family. In the evening, I watched a short English video. The key is, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. This recording is just for you. Nobody else needs to hear it. But listening back to it is incredibly helpful. You'll naturally start noticing things, your pronunciation, maybe grammar mistakes you often make, awkward pauses. It gives you concrete things to work on next time. It's fantastic for building fluency, confidence, and that crucial self-awareness about your own speaking.
That sounds really effective, actually.
Yeah.
Private practice with instant feedback.
Exactly. And then to take a small step towards using English with others, but still in a relatively low-stakes way, the sources suggest you join an English-speaking group online. There are tons of options: WhatsApp groups, Telegram channels, language exchange apps like Tandem, specific Facebook groups for learners.
So finding a community.
Right. And you don't have to jump into hour-long voice chats immediately if that feels scary. You can start small, write short messages, send brief voice notes responding to someone, ask simple questions, or answer them. Honestly, even just lurking and reading what other learners are writing is beneficial. You see how others phrase things, the questions they ask. The big benefit here is that it makes English feel real. It becomes a tool for connection, for communication